Search engine optimization for beginners. Well, it's not difficult anymore to do SEO, search engine optimization, in 2021. This video is going to show you exactly how it works and get some principles across to you. So the next 15 minutes for free, you're going to know the best way to optimize your website and your business for the best effects in 2021. But it's worth saying that a few years ago, SEO or search engine optimization was something that was considered perhaps a bit of a dark art, maybe something difficult. You often hear of these scare stories where people have got things wrong and suddenly a business disappears overnight. So is search engine optimization something that as a beginner, you could be taught in just a few minutes? Well, I'm pleased to say yes, because once you've got a couple of principles in place, you'll find that you'll be able to answer any question that comes along as to whether or not it'd be the right thing to do for your business and whether or not it would actually tie with what Google wants and what other search engines want. Because in effect, you're optimizing for them, but also you're optimizing for someone else too, which I'm about to reveal to you in this video. It's fair to say a few years ago, it was difficult to optimize websites. SEO was all about reading about someone who said they could do it, paying these gurus to perhaps provide you with a subscription to how to learn these secrets. Maybe you employed someone to do it for you. Maybe they were a marketing company that, say, offered SEO, keyword optimization. And yet you probably found, like most of us, that the results were quite poor. In fact, one of my videos a while ago showed that even in 5 minutes, I could get you to number one for a search engine keyword term. The fact was the keyword terms that they were getting you to number one for were things that people weren't looking for. So for example, if you were looking for, say, SEO, well then there's a huge competition for that keyword. But if you were looking for SEO for boots that are worn by Americans in Texas in 1927, no one's ever going to search, I've made it up. And if you just use that keyword phrase once on your website, you'd be number one. So there's this clever way of presenting SEO as if it's difficult to do. And yet actually the principles behind it is quite straightforward. So often there was these massive promises and ebooks that you had to download. And by the time you got to the end of it, it didn't make a lot of difference at all. But SEO has changed, and Google's changed things in particular to make it so it's easier for you as business owners to know exactly how you can do search engine optimization. And even if you're a beginner, or maybe you've done it for a while, this video is going to just, first of all, make sure you know what to do. And secondly, it's going to make sure you've got the right principles behind every question you ask. So what are these principles that we speak about? Well, it's a bit like a magic trick, really, that once someone shows you how it's done, it actually is quite straightforward. The mystery no longer exists. So that's the aim of this video, is to talk your language for beginners so that you understand how it's done. So this is really the main key to this video. Rather than call it SEO, you've probably gathered SEO stands for search engine optimization. I want you to think in terms of it as HO or CO. Now, what's that mean? Well, HO is human optimization and CO is customer or client optimization. So when we talk about SEO these days, we're not really interested in optimizing for the search engine. If you want to do that, that's fine. But the search engine has actually got a destination. If you spoke to Google and you said to them, where is it that the search engine optimization is eventually going to go to? What are you trying to actually do? They're trying to make their search engine against all the others. So you've got Bing and Yahoo, you've got other search engines, DuckDuckGo. They're trying to make theirs stand out above the rest. How do they do that? Well, they make their search engine optimized for what humans are after. So that's why we call it HO, human optimization. Because when you ask the question like, shall I do this? Do I need to add keywords? Shall I add a map to my website? Shall I make sure that I spam it totally to death with this particular keyword? Ask yourself, well, what do humans want? Because that's what Google's asking. And Google's trying to make its algorithm to produce the best results possible for what humans are looking for. And then if humans like the results, they're going to continue to use Google. And that's the principle behind all this. So let's take it then. Your website, does it make sense to have a map on your contact page? Well, for search engine optimization reasons, you might say yes, you might say no. You might read one article that says yes, one says no. But for humans' point of view, for HO or for clients or customers, CO, what would they say? Well, does it make sense that if you're a shop and it's difficult to find that you have a map on your contact page? Well, of course it does. So there's the answer. SEO is about customer optimization, human optimization. And that is really the trick. That's the magic trick. That's revealing how the magic trick's done. It's about getting to where Google's trying to get to. So Google's trying to optimize for humans. You need to think about optimizing for humans. So does it make sense to have a keyword that doesn't make sense in English? So when you read it through, it makes no sense whatsoever. But at least you've got this word, say, plumbers, 100 times in a sentence. Of course it doesn't make sense. People aren't going to want to go and see that as number one in Google when they're looking for a plumber. Now, there are some other things as well to add to this, but that's the basic principle behind all SEO. Search engine optimization for beginners is all about thinking of your clients first. That's what Google wants you to do. And the way Google's done this is they've given you some really cool tools, which we're going to look at in a moment. Now, for the rest of this video, we're going to talk pretty much about Google and Google optimization. And the reason we use Google is because that's where customers are going. Now, in a few years' time, it might be that Bing's the number one search engine. Well, then we'll be talking about Bing. But for now, the facts are that Google is the top search engine. Just look at the facts that 90% of traffic is from Google. This was in 2020. And 4% is on YouTube. YouTube, in effect, is a search engine. You're on here listening to a video probably because you did a search. And now you found it. Search engine optimization for beginners probably brought you here when you did a search. So if 90%'s on Google and then 4%'s on YouTube, guess who owns YouTube? You've got it. Yes, Google. So Google now owns 94% of all search engine traffic. So as much as we talk about search engine optimization, it's true to say that there is 1% of traffic from Bing and there's 5% from others. But you can see it makes sense to just really focus on what Google's after at this particular moment of time for 2021. But you may notice on this channel, I often talk about Google My Business. So why is that? Well, because if you're a business and you're wanting to appear on Google and you're wanting to get plenty of traffic from Google's 94% of traffic that's out there on the web, well, then optimizing for Google My Business makes sense. Because Google My Business has been designed for humans and for your clients. And when your clients go to Google Maps or when they go to Google Search Engine, guess what comes up first if they type in a particular profession or business or a category? If they type in web design, well, I'm hoping they'll find me, locally speaking. If they type in plumbers, I hope they'll find the local plumbers. The fact is, Google knows what people are looking for. A person looking for a plumber isn't going to want someone on the other side of the world that was good at search engine optimization back in 1997. They're going to want someone who in 2020 optimized their Google My Business references, that thought about what customers want. They're just around the corner and they're now ready for 2021. And so that's why Google My Business is probably the best strategy at this time that you could have for your business if you want it to get traffic, huge amounts of traffic from local people looking for your business. So how does it work? Well, here we've got this simple business formula that Google's put together, that they recognize that they've got lots of businesses that perhaps have no marketing budget, but they want marketing. So is there a way of giving marketing to businesses? Well, yes, Google's offering that. In fact, they even give you a marketing package for free. And then there's advertising as well. If you want to pay for extra clicks for advertising, well, Google already offered that with Google Ads, but you can integrate that into your Google My Business if that's what you want to do. And then if you're into SEO, you're into search engine optimization, Google also gives you the ability to write good descriptions, use keywords, have regular posts, use photographs, and reply to customers when they give reviews, where you can put in these SEO ideas that we're going to discuss in other videos that are related to this video. When you put that together with advertising and marketing, you've got all of that in the package of GMB, Google My Business. And at the moment, Google My Business is free. And it could well be that your business has already been registered and is live on Google Maps, and it just needs you to claim it and then to optimize it, which is what, again, this channel, this YouTube channel is all about. You would see from other videos that I've done that I show you how you can claim your business and how you can optimize it too. But keeping this simple, as this is perhaps for beginners that have never heard of GMB or Google My Business, how can we relate to what Google My Business really is? Well, we're going to look in a moment and just show you a little bit about what Google My Business is. But I also think that sometimes you may be familiar with something like Checkertrade, or maybe Yale.com, or an index or a citation area where you go to, where you register your business, and maybe you get ratings back from your customers. Well, Google My Business is exactly that. It gives you the ability to get reviews from your customers. But Google My Business also knows what reviews you've had on Yale.com. It knows what reviews you've got on Facebook. It knows how popular your brand is. It knows what your social media connections are. It knows where your website is. It knows whether you take online appointments and bookings, and it brings this all together. Now imagine the power of that, this branded package for your business for free. That's what Google My Business is. So when someone wants to know something about your business, it's all in one place through Google, and it's called Google My Business. And that's what GMB is, Google My Business. It's a place where all the information comes together. They can email you, they can see your website, they can contact you via an app or via text. They can make online bookings. They can do so many more things too that we haven't covered in this video. So search engine optimization is really about Google My Business optimization in 2021. Now, why is Google My Business so good? Well, just think for a moment. We mentioned not SEO, but we mentioned HO or CO, customer optimization or human optimization. Now, you're a human and maybe you're a potential customer. So what did you last do when you searched in your search engine or Google Maps for a business? What was the last search you put? Maybe you're looking for, say, online flowers. So you put, where's the local florist? Maybe you typed into Google, find me the nearest plumber. And maybe in Google, you just wanted to book a table at the nearest restaurant. Is there an Indian restaurant nearby? How do I get Indian takeaway delivered to my door? You know, if you put any of those keywords or search terms into Google, whether it's on Google Maps or Google search engine, there'll be at least 3 Google My Business references that come up at the top. It's often known as the map pack or the local 3-pack. And there'll be local businesses that are offering that information or that service exactly to you and to your door or to your area. Now, that's the type of power that Google My Business is, because it's a local search engine too. So rather than finding people from around the world to deliver an Indian curry to your door, it'll just provide you with the 3, not necessarily the nearest, because authority is also important, and also whether or not the business is even open. That's another area that's covered in one of my videos. Obviously with COVID, those things have changed for some businesses. But again, keeping that updated is essential if you're wanting to optimize, if you're wanting to do SEO or Google My Business optimization for humans. So if I type into Google, where's the nearest builder in London? Well, it also recognizes that we're referencing a new area. So it's not always the nearest location. It will stick our search into an area as well, and it will then provide those authoritative businesses that have been optimized in that particular area, in this case, in London. Now, how do you optimize for that? Well, that can get a bit more complicated because maybe there's a lot more competition there for your category or business. So, do Google reveal exactly what they're looking for? Well, they've got over 200 parts to their algorithm, and this constantly changes. Maybe 1,000 times a year, they'll make tweaks here and there to try and continuously get to the point where the information that comes up as number 1, 2, and 3 is closest to what would be best for humans, HO, human optimization, or clients, client optimization, CO. And ultimately, there are a few things that you need to know have a higher priority than the other one. Now, I've got this video here that speaks about local rankings revealed. And again, Google doesn't give too much away. But we do have the advantage of spending a lot of time working with Google My Business or link signals from other businesses that are related to our business. That has a big impact, as do citation signals, as do social media, as do the reviews you're given. Perhaps not always the review itself, but how they talk about it, if it's in a positive way, the keywords they use as well. Photographs have a massive impact on your ranking, as do indexes like Yelp, Facebook ranking, and so on. So let me now jump in and show you how you can optimize some of these things. Let me show you also how it works, how you can find some keywords that are going to work for your business, what types of things you can optimize, what Google My Business actually is. And ultimately, we're also going to take you to a video that will show you how you can do this. It's called Google My Business for Dummies in a moment. I'll show you where you can find that. And also, if you really want to know how to do this from scratch, I've recently taken a brand new business that's never had a Google My Business rating or ranking, and we're taking it from scratch and working through it on a episode basis. So we're up to about episode 7. I'll take you back to episode 1 in case you've missed that. And I think you'll find it really helpful if you want to know how to do this from the beginning. First, we'll show you how you can see what Google My Business is. So if you search any company that's got Google My Business, so there you go. So this is my Google My Business entry. So you often see this on the side. You'll see it on the right hand side. And there it's got information, it's got reviews. So we went through all these things. It's picked up on my Yale.com. It's got questions, 10 questions and answers in there. Lots of information, lots of products, lots of ways in which I'm sharing information. People can contact me, the request a quote. They can go to my website, they can get directions to my business, which is like Google Maps. If I click on that, you see it takes them to where I am and shows them on Google Maps and so on. So that's what this Google My Business is all about. It's all about branding. It's all about adding information. So you can see here the information's picked up from my website as well, Facebook. But a lot of information goes into Google My Business. The photos, it picks up on the branding there as well. So that's what Google My Business is. Right, let's now look at some of the things you can do to optimize for it. So we mentioned with your website and with also your Google My Business, you might just want to know what keywords are people searching. And the way you can do this is if, say, for instance, you were a web designer, as I am, so I'm going to type in web designer. The next thing is if you then press A, you'll see what others are looking for. So maybe they're looking for a web design agency, or maybe they're looking for the average salary. So you might want to talk about things in your blog that are actually being searched for. Now, why are these coming up here? This is what Google says is the most common search for terms that include the terms that or the keywords you start with. So for search engine optimization for beginners, this is an ideal way of finding out what others are actually searching for. So let's just go see. So web designer costs, web designer course. Now, if you can offer a web design course, then that would be a web designer course would be a key phrase to use. If you do go for that, let's say web designer course, that's the key phrase. What you can also do is if you ignore the ads, you could just see then, why is this number 1? You notice there, web design courses is in highlight. And again, web design course, web design. And what you can do is if you click on then the website, you notice also that the web design courses is actually coming up as the URL. So if you're using dates or months, that might be something else to consider changing, particularly if you're using something like a WordPress website. And then in this page, Google's obviously rewarding it and making it number 1, apart from the fact that there are quite a few ads on that page as well. If I now press Control F, that brings up a find. And I'm going to just find on this page, how often do they mention web designer? So mention it 4 times. How often do they mention web design? 43 times. How often do they mention web design course? 10 times. So you're just getting an idea as to where or how important it is to use keywords. So again, this is just about understanding some of the basics when it comes to search engine optimization. And if you're wanting to optimize your actual website, then keywords may be the way you want to go. That's more kind of the old-fashioned way, which we referred to earlier. It's not to say it's not wrong or right, it's just one way to do it. Now, something else you might want to do is just ask questions. So if you go to answer the public, you can just get an idea of what are people asking when it comes to, say in my case, web design. And this will just give you the 70 most common questions that people are asking. So it takes the hows, the whys, the whats, the wheres, and so on. It's normally easier just to put data. And then if you look down here, you might just find, again, a question that you can answer. So how does web design help business? How does web design work? How does web design impact content marketing? How does web design affect SEO? Now, you might just want to then do a search in Google for that and then see what comes up. Then perhaps read one or two of these articles and see how often, again, they're using that keyword, how web design affects SEO. And again, this is another whole area which we won't go into that gets people clicking through. But that's generally how keywords work. And as I say, you can spend a long time looking at keywords. There are plenty of tools you can purchase out there. Or you can just go the other way, which is to go for Google My Business. So how does Google My Business work? Well, if I put in here web designer Bournemouth, then you'll notice that this is what the Google 3-pack is. So we speak about the 3-pack or the map pack, and that's the top 3 businesses that Google's chosen to show above really pretty much, well, you've got the ads always come first because they're paying for them, and then you then got this free, and then you then got the others that follow. So that's the older style SEO. This is above, and that's why this is even more powerful than the old way of doing SEO. But if you want to know more about how to do SEO in Google My Business, you can always just do this. If you type in Zanet, Z-A-N-E-T, and then Google My Business, and then whatever it is that you wanted to know. So let's, for instance, say photos. Then you'll probably find my videos are coming up on YouTube, so you can go there. Sometimes I write articles, so you can find the article here, how to get a 360 photo for free, how Google My Business images show in SERPs. So there are some articles I've written, but you'll pretty much find lots of videos that have got me providing you, if this is a level that you're interested in, with some answers. If you just go to Zanet Google My Business, you'll notice that one of the ones here, Google My Business Management, 4 levels. If you click on that, you'll notice that if you're a beginner, you'll find this level useful, but I've also got other levels here as well. So what are these? Well, I'll just open these up and show you. If you click on the beginners one, it will take you to a playlist that's aimed at beginners. And on here, you'll find various things like answers to your questions, how to do an audit, what's effective in Google, how you can get verification, tips and tricks. And you'll find all these videos that are aimed at Google My Business for beginners. But you may be that you're just a bit beyond that. So we've got intermediates, we've got advanced, and we've got experts. So just open these up as well, and you'll see that I'm trying to aim it at different levels. So here's for the intermediates. Perhaps you want to know about that free marketing kit. You may want to know about brand awareness, some powerful tips to grow. If you're more in advanced mode, then you're probably interested in things like, how do you know what the competitors' categories are? Is it possible to remove fake reviews? How do you get and stay in the local 3-pack? And also you've got here then for the experts, some perhaps things like handling a suspension or avoiding a suspension, how to get a 360 free video, 21 Google My Business benefits that you can then apply, 13 Google My Business optimization tricks, and so on. So hopefully there'll be a level there, whether it's experts, whether it's advanced, whether it's intermediates, or whether it's beginners, you'll find there's a level there for you too. So hopefully you now understand roughly the principles involved in Google My Business optimization, or SEO, search engine optimization, or as I like to call it, CO or HO, human optimization. And if you get the idea that you're working and trying to work for what humans are looking for and not what the search engines are looking for, then you've already got a big advancement over most people when they talk about search engine optimization. Why? Most people are still thinking in the past. They haven't realised it's moved on in the last couple of years. So now this type of information is actually going to get you ahead of the competition. And if you start putting this into action, if you follow some of these guidelines, these videos that I'm doing at the moment, and you continually do that, not looking for an immediate reward, because Google never gives immediate rewards. If that's the case, then probably you're not going to be doing something right. Google's looking to reward the companies and the businesses that are consistent, methodical, reliable, honest. Those are the things that they also reward. You can't fake those things, so it takes time. But if you like this type of information and you want to know more about just Google My Business for Dummies, then go to this video and I'll see you there and I'll show you exactly what you can do from the start. But if you just want to see a business from scratch using Google My Business, then episode 1 is here and I'll see you there.